Major geopolitical crises often dominate the headlines for a few weeks before the world moves on, but their real significance and consequences are only understood weeks down the line. The recent confrontation between US and Iran is one such case in point. And today, we are privileged to have Lieutenant General KJS Dhillon with us to answer some burning questions around this topic. And why now? The reason is his fourth book, after not one, not two, but three national bestsellers, and that fourth book focuses on this war and the readiness that India has today. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Meg. Thank you, and Jen.
Sir, we're really happy that you have announced another title after a long wait, after almost a gap of a year, I would say. We have the fourth book coming out. And it comes at a time again when these tensions in West Asia have sort of put the world at the brink of another major war. So what was it about this crisis that, kind of convinced you that a deeper examination was needed, especially from an Indian perspective?
Thank you, Meg. Actually speaking, we didn't discuss the book per se, but you have summed up the book in the first question itself.
Oh,
wow. The crisis, the West Asia crisis, and how it has impacted the world and how it's impacting India is actually the theme of the book. It was a nobody's war. It became everybody's war. Even the cameraman sitting here is feeling the pinch of this war by having to stand in a queue for a gas cylinder, the increased rates of gas cylinder, gas or the petrol or diesel, and overall feeling of insecurity, the markets crashing and what have you. So this nobody's war to everybody's war. And then your point, is India ready? Was India ready? Is India ready? And how ready India will be after 10 years to face similar or a different crisis? This came from the West. Next one may not come from the West. So all these points, all these aspects from A to Z have been discussed in the book. Military aspects, strategic aspects, political aspects, geostrategic aspects, economic aspects, policy aspects. So I enjoyed writing this book.
excellent.
And it's been co-authored with Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, a great person, a great soldier, and a great human being.
That's very exciting, sir. Very exciting. And so just like you said, it became everybody's war and we all felt the pinch in some way or the other. But it's very clear that not every crisis has this sort of effect on people. Why do you think this was so different and why did the common person, now I'm sitting kilometers away from where this actually transpired, why was it so different for us this time and why is this question of is India ready so relevant to us?
Because the world is moving from independence to interdependence. Gone are the days when we were not even aware what's other side of the river. Now, world is a global village. Interdependence is tremendous. May it be in terms of energy, may it be in terms of IT, AI, security, geostudy, militarily relationships, economic relationships, markets, manufacturing. So the interdependence has become so thick and deep that nobody can stay aloof from a crisis like this. Like Russia-Ukraine is a different domain. It's happening in a part of the world which does not impact you directly. It does impact certain aspects of governance of the government per se, who had interlinkages with the either Ukraine or Russia. But this particular crisis has impacted each and every individual living on this planet. So that is how this study of this crisis, the analysis of this crisis in depth, going into the crisis was very important. And the end result, there should be nothing without an aim. The aim of this analysis was India ready? Is India ready? Will India be ready? And if India has to be ready in next 10 years, what are the main aspects we should be looking at? And when we should be looking at? My analysis is we should be looking at the things to put in place by yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, if we miss yesterday, then today. But definitely we can't wait till tomorrow. So it is a game of yesterday, today and tomorrow.
So, and I think so again, I don't have context of the book yet, but I think the fact that you have written it makes a difference to my mind simply because your previous three books have been written in a way that it is understandable for a regular person. Now I also don't have the complete understanding of how all of this works. You have lived that life, so you know it way better than me. But I think making that information accessible is the most important thing, to understand where we are placed today and how we need to look at our future and how we can also contribute to this nation building. So I think that's a very exciting proposition.
Mac, you touched a very important aspect. Since you own a bookstore, you own a publishing house, and you understand how the languages work.
Yeah.
And as a soldier, I only understand the language is a means of communication. It can be spoken, it can be written, it can be, expressions. All these are means of communicating a point of view. And in the military, we have a phrase. We must say something in the language the receiver understands. So if I have to convey a message through a book, it must be conveyed in the language he understands, or he or she understands. I can't be speaking Queen's English, where my reader is speaking English which is spoken. So there is a subtle difference. There are people in the publishing industry who are not agreeing with my point of view. They wanted me to, change my language 180 degrees upside down. I stood my ground. I said, no. I write in the language a common reader understands.
Yeah.
And I convey my point the way we are speaking now.
That's very
I don't want to write something where the person has to read refer to the dictionary 5 times in a page. Then the flow breaks. The thought, the flow breaks. So it's important that you communicate in the language the other person understands.
True. Definitely, sir. And I think making it complex defeats the whole purpose.
As it is, war is a complex business.
issue. Exactly.
War is a complex business for 95% of the people who do not deal with war on an everyday basis. So to communicate or to explain a complicated system, you can't be further complicating it.
True.
So it has to be put in a very simple layman's terms. And that's exactly what I've done in all 3 books earlier and this one also.
Excellent. I can vouch for the next, past 3, I'm sure I can vouch for the next one as well. So having been in uniform and lived this life for so long, what is that one strategic lesson that you feel this war taught us, not even in terms of India, but just taught the world? Any major strategic lesson that really stood out to you?
The major strategic lesson, it is true for nations, it is true for individuals. Do not take anything for granted. If tomorrow comes, the way is today, good. But if tomorrow comes in a different shade and hue than today, then what? You have to be prepared in your mental faculties for a different tomorrow, and you have to be prepared in your resources, in your assets, in your reserves, in your capabilities. Because capabilities take decades to build. Intentions can change overnight. So for tomorrow, if tomorrow is not as per your liking, you won't go around saying, now I have to build capabilities to face it. Like in that we are just talking that layperson's terms, you can't be caught napping. So that is the biggest lesson. Because the crisis can hit you in any shape, form or time. As nations, as individuals, as families, as communities, we got to cater for them, we got to visualize them, we got to do crisis navigation. I written in my 2nd book. Crisis management is not enough. Crisis navigation is the way. So that is where I think biggest lesson is. Today's friends can be tomorrow's foes, and you got to be prepared for it.
Absolutely.
Pray for the best, wish for the best, but work for the worst. That is the lesson.
True. Absolutely. And sir, of course, the entire world and people like us, we were so focused on the missiles and the, what was happening. There was drama around it. There were a lot of headlines. And sometimes the headlines didn't make sense, to be honest. But what are the few things that we as common people missed? And how does that book sort of bridge that gap that you have put out in terms of the understanding around this war? Because it may have been overshadowed by so much of this drama.
Every war. I make a very pertinent question because every war has a lot of noise around it.
Yeah.
for two reasons. One is the noise is natural because there are a lot of people who are trying to, sort of see the war in their context from their perspective. They may not be the experts, so there's noise. Second is the place themselves want to create noise to shield or hide the truth.
That's an important one.
Yeah. So the narrative which is built, the narrative warfare, or that battle of narratives, it's not fought alongside the war. These days, the battle of narrative precedes the war. It can start 6 months before the war or 1 year before the war. Remember 1991, the Iraq war, weapons of mass destruction.
Yep.
So that narrative was built. That narrative was built that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction to go in for the war. Similarly, the narrative warfare is a thing which will play along, and internet and the social media has amplified it. So we need to be very clear. We should be able to understand what is truth and what is noise. So there is going to be noise, and that is when the good, you can say, analysis people, or the good, dependable people, or reliable people who have their own merit at stake, who have their own reputation at stake. So better is to listen to those people and get clarity. War is a very dirty business, and there are interests at play. Unless you have a clear political goal or national aim, nothing will fall in place. India had a very clear national aim and political goal during Operation Sindoor.
Correct.
4 days we achieved it and exit. Now, Americans went into this war without any political goal. First was regime change. 48 hours it got changed to denuclearization of Iran. Another 48, 72 hours it got changed to we will sink the navy and destroy the military.
Absolutely.
Then it got changed to we can fight for 4 to 5 weeks. And karte after 40 days it came to opening of Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
The national goal was opening of Strait of Hormuz, which was in any case open before 28th of February.
Exactly.
So end state was not known. What do you want to achieve? So this war can go on forever. So that's another lesson. When nations go to war, there should be very clear political goal and national aim. Because from national aim will come out military aim. From military aim flows the military strategy. From military strategy flows the military operations. That would achieve the end state. So all these have been discussed in great detail in this book.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. And so you talked about two words in particular. You talked about interdependence and independence. Now, interdependence, we understand that everything now globally affects us in some way or the other. And it's very clear from this war. I mean, the layman was disturbed and the layman was affected. But the independence has to be in terms of our preparedness. So it raises that question of, is India ready? So I want to put you on the spotlight and genuinely ask you, is India truly ready for something?
That's exactly the theme of half the book.
So can you sum it up? Something.
Is India ready? See, the very beautiful question you asked was independence. Now, independence can be seen in different ways. One independence is, okay, we are interdependent, we are living in this world, we have businesses, we have trade going on. But independence is, you should have strategic autonomy to stand your ground. For that, you have to have a good economy backing you, good military backing you, good political will backing you, good diplomatic efforts backing you, and democracy backing you. For that, then you can say, I take my independent decisions, I have the strategic autonomy. That is one independence. Second is, during war, nobody is going to give you weapons if they have allies with the other party. So your independence also becomes your dependence on your Indian manufactured weapons and goods. So make in India is another way of looking at being independent. Although joint ventures can be there, so that is interdependence.
Correct.
And another thing is, we had the crisis in West Asia. All over the world, the energy rates went up. We managed it very well for 3 months. Because we had our reserves, we had our policies in place, we had a distribution system in place, and hardly any news of hoarding and black marketing. So we had our systems in place. That is also part of independence. We have our independent systems in place, domestic systems in place. And we had alternate sources of energy. Where I discuss in book how we had proliferated our sources of energy from other parts of the world. So all these are part of being independent in an interdependent village. In an interdependent global village. So This war has taught a lot of things from the national perspective
Yeah.
and which are very relevant even for the individual perspective.
And I think it's sort of a changing point in the way that we now perceive the world going forward as well.
Yes.
Just like you said, the fact that, when Russia-Ukraine happened, we were not really affected in this way. It's been going on. But this really changed the way in terms of how
in
we
Punjabi they say, na, Russia Ukraine was Sanu ki. The West Asia is Sanu hai.
I don't think I can sum it up
Aur
better.
Sanu rahega.
Absolutely.
So that Sanu ki will not work anymore because it affects you. It affects every one of us.
Absolutely.
And that is the reason better be prepared than repenting later on. So that is important
Very
because
true.
intentions change overnight, situations change overnight, capabilities take decades. So we must be capable.
So, another question I want to just ask you that's derived from this. You've worked in the military, you've worked with the government, you've been on ground working with business leaders, visionaries, common people. You've interacted with the entire, spectrum of people. This aspect of nation building and being preparedness involves all of these. It's not just one entity that's in focus. So how do you feel have you seen any change happening, and can you describe what sort of changes happening in all of these aspects all around for this independence in terms of nation building and being fully prepared?
Absolutely. We are an evolving nation, we are a developing nation. Now we are in the top 5. That is a big change. Nation building and how as a nation independently we can be prepared for tomorrow. They are interlinked things. Nation building means, like I said, it's a comprehensive national power. Everyone must contribute to the nation building. It's not that only a soldier who is fighting on the border wearing a uniform is building the nation. It's not only a politician is building the nation. It's not only the industrialist who is contributing to the economic growth is building the nation. Everyone is building a nation. Teacher is building a nation. A bookseller is building a nation because they're teaching some good values to people. So even if you are making mustard oil, if your mustard oil is of good quality and it is exported outside and you get the foreign exchange reserves, you're contributing to nation building. So every Indian is a nation builder in uniform or in civis. So it's very important that we contribute. Whatever we are doing, we do it best. That is how the nations become great. That's how the communities become great. And talking about being independent in nation building, yes. Majority of the portion is independent actions. There will be certain interplays. There will be certain interdependencies within the nation and outside the nation. But everything falls in place when your aim is very clear. वो जो अर्जुन की मछली की आंख है ना, जब वो है ना कि देश के लिए करना है, then everything will fall in place. फिर वो ना पूरी कायनात आपका साथ देगी.
Yes. True.
So that is how it works.
True.
And I think everyone must contribute in his or her way, positively, aggressively, and committedly. And the nation building is automatic after that.
Absolutely. I think it's very important for us to understand. यही लगता है ना हमारा effort बहुत छोटा है, क्या ही होगा. But just like you said, you give such a small example, but it's relevant. It's relevant for everybody.
In a Second World War, छोटे effort की बात कर रहे हो. Tanks were not moving because ball bearings were getting damaged. So that ball bearing became the most relevant part in such a huge tank. So किसी का भी effort छोटा नहीं है.
बिल्कुल.
कोई भी जो आपके काम करने का तरीका है ना, वो छोटा या बड़ा नहीं होता है. आपकी हिम्मत छोटी या बड़ी होती है. हिम्मत मर्दा मदद खुदा. So you should do whatever you're doing with full commitment, and that small little thing which you're doing is being used somewhere in a big scheme of things.
Exactly.
So that's very important.
That belief is important.
Yes, the
Absolutely.
belief in yourself is important.
Totally agree, sir.
बाकी सानू की.
You say. So, and historically, we've seen that, of course, our battles are fought with a lot of weapons, a lot of, very sophisticated machinery, but they're lost essentially when it comes to poor economics, energy dependence, too much of it. Do you think this war exposed some vulnerabilities that India had, and how do you feel we should overcome them?
Actually speaking, there are about 2 chapters on this particular aspect in this book. This war exposed a lot of vulnerabilities of the world. Vulnerabilities of single source energy dependence, vulnerability of single type of energy dependence, vulnerability of single supply chain logistics routes dependence, vulnerability on single superpower dependence, vulnerability of, not being able to cover the fault lines of history, religion, tradition
Yes. That's very
with the
important.
evolving world. So there are a lot of vulnerabilities got exposed. Now coming specifically to India, the vulnerabilities which, I will not say got exposed, the vulnerability which came and, hit us in the face. Energy dependence. Single source energy dependence. We have to diversify our sources of energy. We have to diversify our types of energies. We have to curtail our extra expenditures. Unthinking expenditure. Like I always say, we are a country of 140, 150 crore people. There must be 70, 80 crore vehicles on the roads.
Yes.
If every vehicle saves 1 liter of petrol or diesel every month, and if there's 70 crore vehicles or 50 crore vehicles, we are saving 50 crore liters of fuel. That has to be understood.
Yeah.
Economic policies vulnerability have to be improved. Our diaspora outside, their safety, they're safe bringing them back home, evacuation. We did very well. That has been. Then our remittances which were coming, they have impact on our economy if the remittances die down. So they, and our storage capabilities. We are 140 crore people. Our demand is there, our need is there, our use is there, our consumption is there. We need to cater for 75, no, we need to cater for 150 days so that the crisis doesn't hit us. So there are a lot of things which have been discussed in this book. And I have not even talked about military.
Of course.
So
That
there
is a
are
critical
diplomatic,
aspect.
there are internal policy matters, the economic policy matters, there are logistic matters, there are domestic aspects. So there is a lot which was highlighted during this war. I won't call them vulnerability.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of recommendations how to build it up and be prepared for northeast, southwest direction of next crisis.
Absolutely. And so you spoke on the fact that we need to be ready as of yesterday. There are things that need immediate and urgent attention. So you spoke about the fact that in the book you have this roadmap for the next 10 years. So just in brief, without revealing too much, what does this roadmap to 2035 look like for India in relation to all of this?
See, the roadmap of 2035 for India to face a similar or a different type of crisis, which can come in form of natural or man-made or enemy-made. So all those things, we taken it under different heads. We're taking it under diplomatic efforts, economic efforts, domestic efforts, and local industrial growth, and our policy decisions, policy changes, logistics changes. So in different forms, and in the military also, what is there, and to fight tomorrow's war, how we need to build. So all these things, tomorrow's crisis and tomorrow's war, and our requirements of tomorrow as a nation, they're different from today. And we cannot have the yardstick of yesterday to build for tomorrow.
Correct.
So visualization, perspective planning has to be there, long-term planning has to be there. So all these aspects have been covered in the last 2 chapters as to where now. How does India get ready for the next 10 years?
True. And I think so
And when I'm saying next 10 years, they start today.
Yeah.
They start today. Nobody can tell a crisis कि अभी मैं तैयार नहीं हूँ. So you have to face your preparedness.
Bilkul.
You have to face your preparedness across all domains, across the complete spectrum of nation building, nation management, nation safety, citizenry welfare. All these aspects are covered in the last 2 chapters.
Absolutely. I think, sir, this all is additive in the sense that I remember even when you wrote Operation Sindoor and we discussed it, at that time also you were very clear that wars are going to be fought very differently. So that preparedness is so critical to the way that, to the way we feel secure in our own nation and how the world perceives us. So I think this book is a great addition to the fact that India's roadmap in the next 10 years has to evolve very fast in terms of what.
Just to build on a point, when the West Asia war was going on, Operation Sindoor had just finished a few months ago. Russia-Ukraine war was still on parallelly. And look at the three different wars. In a similar or same time frame, three different wars were being fought in three different ways. So that is the full spectrum warfare.
Absolutely.
So that is how we have to be prepared. And you never know what we are going to face tomorrow.
Exactly.
Because if you look at the geography, we have Himalayas to the north. There the war is going to be different. We have jungles in the northeast. The war is going to be different. We have the island territories. The war is going to be different. We have the coastline. The war is different. We have the Rann and the marshy areas in Kutch, Gujarat. The war is going to be different. We have deserts. The war is going. We have plains of Punjab, riverine area, and then we have mountains and hilly and high altitude, and the highest battlefield of the world, Siachen. Now imagine within India we have 10 types of terrains, and that would demand 10 types of different war fighting. And I have not even gone beyond our borders.
Yeah, and then there are wars where we are not even directly involved. But
there are out of area contingencies. There are regional conflicts.
Absolutely.
There are sub-regional conflicts. There are beyond region conflicts. And not only wars, there are human assistance and disaster relief, HADR. We just seen our Venezuela, Indian Army is operating a hospital there.
Yeah.
Imagine where is Venezuela? In Americanas. And if our military hospital has gone from India to Venezuela to help in the earthquake, we were there in Turkey earthquake, we were there in Nepal earthquake, we were there for tsunami. So all these are the visualization of the crisis which can hit us. They need not necessarily be wars, but they take away lives, they affect the economy. So there is more to being prepared than only being prepared for war. And that is how the book has touched on all these aspects without only concentrating on war. War is just small little part. The bigger crisis which may come away.
So of all these aspects that you've mentioned economic, energy crisis, militaries, political. There's so many aspects that are involved in all of this. Which is that one area that you feel where India needs to move the fastest?
I think India needs to move the fastest in homegrown industry, make in India.
Correct.
And you need not be dependent on anyone for anything. It will happen. It happens slowly, gradually, but definitely. So if you are not dependent on outside power or outside help, then two things happen. One is nobody can deny you the victory which is yours by stopping the supplies and all. And second is nobody will touch you because they know your strength.
Yeah.
And India of tomorrow cannot be dependent on anyone else for anything. So that is most important, and I think we are doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
We are going the right way.
Absolutely. And so talking specifically about the book, at what point during this crisis did you feel that this book needs to be put out there and this message needs to be put out there?
See, when on 7th of April, the ceasefire was declared, and I had within 8 hours said, this ceasefire is very fragile because Lebanon is going to be the fulcrum.
You put that on social media.
I put it on social media. I said, Lebanon is going to the fulcrum, and people are talking about, Hormuz and Iran and other things. And that's coming true. So that is the day when I started thinking of writing this book, and I had so many other things or observations about this war, being a military man and being a person who is now in touch with so many other spheres of life. So by about mid-April to end April, this thing it got crystallized.
Excellent, excellent.
Is India ready? These three words are the heart of the book. Is India ready? Was India ready? Is India ready today, tomorrow, yesterday, 2035? And ready for what?
Yeah.
We can't be ready for the yesterday's war. We have to be ready for anything which may happen tomorrow. So all those points have been touched.
Absolutely. I think this is the most pertinent question, I think. Is
and every Indian is one of
Yeah, exactly.
So he says, यार इस बार तो हो गया पर अगली बार तो दोबारा तो नहीं हो जाएगा. अगर दोबारा हो जाएगा तो फिर मेरे को क्या करना है? कहना है contribute. So सफलता की कुंजी होती थी पहले. तो वो सफलता की कुंजी में कहीं ना कहीं ये important question है. So he will find an answer. as to how can he contribute.
Absolutely. And I think that is the most pertinent question that's been raised because वो interdependence बहुत real बन गई है अब हमारे ये सब कुछ देख के. And I think सबसे ज़्यादा important चीज़ दूसरी ये भी है कि हमें genuinely पता कि next war कब, कैसे, कहाँ, क्यों शुरू होगी. There is no answer to it.
Yes.
Nobody can give you a direct answer. So there's nothing more you can do than be fully prepared in the real sense. And I think another thing, that phrase that stood out, it was nobody's war, but became everybody's war. The entire world has been affected by it. So
this nobody's war becoming everybody's war. I was toying with this phrase, but as I was writing, it was becoming so ample clear. Ki this is a war which has become everybody's war. The person who may not even know कि state of Hormuz कहाँ पे है, उसके spelling नहीं आते होंगे, he is affected. He is affected because it is his war now. So that is the concept is that.
Bilkul. Wonderful, sir. I'm so excited that this sort of a book is coming out because I've said it innumerable times. I think accessible literature on topics that we don't know enough about is very, very important. And I genuinely look forward to reading this and getting a better understanding of how everything is working. And sir, just before you sign off, any one message that you hope a reader reading your new book should take away from it?
See, I always believe. First is you believe in yourself, you believe in your nation, believe in your surrounding, believe in your family, believe in your community. Have faith in yourself, have faith in your abilities. And for a reader, read good books, read original books. And contribute to good reading habits. Inculcate good reading habits in your family, in your children, in your environment. Because nothing better than reading. Because reading comes with authenticity.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else on social media or on the news channels comes with a narrative.
Yeah.
You can go back and recheck what you read. But to get something authentic, because I'm putting my name on the book, I cannot be driving a narrative because it can be cross-checked. So that is how reading good books, reading original books. Because why I insist on original books is, there is a livelihood of the families of the people involved with the publishing industry. Not only authors, not only editors, not only publishers, even the bookstore holders, bookstore managers, bookstore owners, bookstore staff.
Absolutely.
The warehouse keeping people. Everyone involved with the publishing, their families, lifestyle, life depends on them. And if you read pirated books, you are not doing justice to them. Firstly, you are doing something illegal. You are doing something which is not ethical. And then you are not helping the people who are working hard to bring the original books to you. So it's very important that you be a good citizen, read good books, read original books.
And I think, sir, हमने पूरी conversation we have focused so much on independence in terms of our own economy, our own nation, and contributing to nation building. So I think everything that we do in our day-to-day life should be inspired by it. So thank you so much, sir. We're really, really looking forward to this book, having this book in our hands, and wish you great, great success for this as well. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Mac, and thank you, readers, for all the love you have given to the first 3 books. कितने गाजी आए, कितने गाजी गए, वफादारी, ईमानदारी, जिम्मेदारी, and Operation Sindoor. All 3 national bestsellers because you gave that push, because you gave that belief. And now this 4th book, are you ready? Is India ready? Let's see. Read this book. Look forward to your feedback. Thank you and Jai Hind.